All right, is this thing working? Yep. I'm hoping this gives me some audio, but basically, we're here today to discuss the new moon in Aquarius. I'm not sure if my audio is working, but we can have some weird sounds probably going for, I don't know, maybe a minute or two. But this is probably one of my first recordings that I'm doing for astrological reading, and it will be based on pretty much a U.S. Location. So right now, what I have is I won't say one of the prominent areas potentially in the U.S. will be on the East Coast. I'm using Furnace Hill, Virginia, and I'm just using based upon U.S. location. That's where I'm at. So the date is the 22nd, which is not too long from now. We are at about, I don't know, 5 days away or so, 6 days. 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21, 22. Yeah. So yeah, the new moon will be in Aquarius. It will be around, of course, 0 degrees. Because by the time then, yeah, of course, the sun will be in Aquarius. So it's kind of going further out because it's 2 degrees already. So yeah, the chart basically is a reading for the day. And yeah, Sun Aquarius 2 degrees, Moon Scorpio 6, Mercury Capricorn 20, Venus Pisces 19, Mars Cancer 23, Jupiter Gemini, of course, which will stay in retrograde for now. So is Mars in Cancer. Both of those are retrograde, as well as Uranus at 23. And that's pretty much all 3 planets that is retrograde. So from there, you have Saturn Pisces, which is pretty much moving at 16. Neptune Pisces as well, 27. Pluto Aquarius, which is like the main thing, 1 degree of Aquarius. And you have some other notable positions like North Node Pisces, 29 degrees, like really just getting into like the last degrees of Pisces. I would say the most important areas you're going to look for here, of course, is where the new moon is happening. And the moon pretty much moves fast. So as of right now, it looks like it will only be in Scorpio. So we're probably a little too ahead of it actually being conjunct the sun, which will make it new moon. Once the moon meets up with the sun at a certain degree level, again, that's when it's a new moon. So yeah, we're just a little bit ahead of the actual day. But soon we will be in the season of Aquarius, of course. So yeah, I would say if you are new to astrology, just basically, get out your rising sign. For instance, I'm a Leo rising, so of course Aquarius is pretty much the opposite sign. Fixed air, fixed fire. Obviously, there's not too many planets right now in Leo. But of course, with Mars retrograde Cancer, it pretty much just builds up to the point where Mars will actually be in Leo. So, yeah, just notable parts here will be air themes. So from a new moon, which will be air, fixed air, eventually you will have it trine Jupiter Gemini. And yeah, it will be mostly the moon making like the actual degree aspect, because I'm sure the sun will still be too early to actually be, within an actual degree trine with Jupiter. So again, this could be a lot of communication, and this is obviously going to be after the presidential inauguration of our new president for the next 4 years. So it can be very important for different people. And I would say from there, you just pretty much looking at a lot of generational planets. which isn't for everyone, but the next big generational planet probably would be Pluto, at that 1 degree, which is so close to the sun. And it's another important thing to consider. So you would have like a good conjunction between sun, moon, and Pluto. So yeah, a lot of conversations. Probably not a lot of people gonna like them, but I would say they're gonna be pretty important for a lot of us. And yeah, this is just a really good beginning of pretty much a lot of things, because you just have so many things that you can stay fixed on, which of course this is what a fixed sign is. But then again, you are going to have so many areas and opinions and voices. It could relate to stock market, it could relate to housing, just general needs for people. So I will eventually visit back to give like more updates on what's going on. But right now, this is just basically a tester of what's to come. So I can't really say necessarily when I'm going to continue doing the updates. Of course, new moon areas probably are going to be the most interesting for me to start on. Sheesh, this volume is low. But from a new moon and to, of course, the full moon, it's just a lot of information to cover. So obviously, since we had a full moon in Cancer, the next major one would be a opposition sign of Aquarius, which would be a full moon in Leo. And that will be around probably February, like the beginning of February, because you obviously have weeks and weeks or so until the moon goes from new to full. So be on the lookout for that. As again, like I said, right now we don't really have anything that is exactly opposite Aquarius sign. Do have some trines there, and there's some other information such as squares, which is pretty much somewhat opposition, or it could be just another fixed sign. So as of the day, which will be the 22nd that I chose, the moon in Scorpio, that is obviously going to be fixed and square, of course, to the sun, a water sign. So there's just a lot of water themes that many astrologers probably will be talking about. I don't think I can go into full detail of what that means for each and every person, but for instance, right now we just would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pretty much major celestial bodies in the water sign. So that could be meaningful for different people. But some people say grand trines in water, which this will be something that will be the case, is pretty much important for different people. Just a lot of themes of gathering, because water, it flows and it does gather nutrients and move them different places. Of course, if you look back and think of something that might need water, you might say the West Coast after the fires. You get some water, which refreshes and helps. Maybe even water could be tied to snow because it's still winter season in North America. Yeah, so kind of also another good one that you can kind of look at as the Grand Trine area would be Mars, Neptune, and Pisces. Mars, Cancer, obviously, and North Node Pisces. Like, that's pretty interesting. Because of course, as you keep going on the months ahead, Neptune will eventually change the degree to 28, which is really right on that North Node. And I would say like a lot of health-wise things could display or appear. Because from North Node Pisces, the opposite of that sign is another mutable sign, which Pisces is, and it's Virgo. So Virgo is opposite where the South Node would be. And different people use them for their own reasons. but usually those signs are related to health. So that can come up for a lot of different people, or just at a world level, something new, something good, or something not so good. That's all part of life. I would definitely keep an eye on, I guess, Mercury in the Capricorn area and that Aquarius area of your charts, because it's just a lot of new energy and new themes. And of course, if you go back to that Mars Cancer retrograde, you have Mercury, which is opposite of Cancer, or Capricorn opposite of Cancer, either way. So I would say Mars is obviously leading that opposition. But again, Mercury and the Sun has obviously moved through such important areas because that's where Pluto was. So with the opposition of Mars and Capricorn, that could be, I don't know, I would say a little bit truthful in a sense, because you have like a communication sign, probably where it's not necessarily liked to be in. Mercury is more on the mutable and thinking type of sign, so that would be Gemini, Virgo. So Capricorn is cardinal Earth, sorry, and that just changes the dynamic of the planet itself. But again, it will be trying to Taurus because of Uranus. So it's just a lot of breakthrough. And again, like I said about that water, that it moves nutrients and earth things, metals, plants, things like that. There could be possibly science breakthroughs coming up, whether it's this year, around that new moon, or later in the year, or again in the near future. So there's a lot of important things and themes here to think of and consider. And like I said, if you just want to follow along with your own identity, instead of like going through daily different people, just look at the area of where Aquarius could be, and again where Capricorn might be in your chart. It just appears in different people's lives. For instance, if you have a rising sign of Aquarius, that could be pretty new for you, just in general areas. But you can navigate through them correctly if you know what you're doing. So I probably left this podcast like under 30 minutes, of course. But again, like I said, this is probably the first of many to come. So from here, it's just getting information out to many people that just want to start in astrology. You can find me at What's in Today's. So What's in Today's on Instagram. Whoever listens to this, you can follow. I don't necessarily post astrology things there, but again, the page is just a way to jump into entrepreneurship and just, again, different conversations. And I think this astrology area is pretty good for different people. That's why I decided to make it. Again, the day that I did set this was the 22nd of January, which would not be that far from here. And again, this is a little before the actual new moon. So I will be back eventually. I think I went over most important areas. Another and final important area, since I did mention a few other planets, will probably be Venus Pisces and Saturn Pisces. Like, that's so close still. Although eventually Venus will move on away from those degree areas. For instance, like I already mentioned, Pisces Saturn is 16 degrees. Pisces Venus is 19 degrees. Very close. And again, what that means is health, new areas of health and water. Those are big themes that not only I'm mentioning, but other people that are very great in astrology are mentioning. And, with everything, there's good and bad, but I do see some interesting things that could be useful for people. And the moon, eventually, because it moves so fast, it will make a trine as well with Saturn and Venus. So it could be useful for different people to just kind of get creative or be imaginatory dreams. Like that's probably another thing that you'll hear. It's good to kind of copy your dreams that you're probably having if you can as soon as you wake up. And yeah, I think I would say last but not least, just go ahead and again focus on that Aquarius sector of your chart. We have 12 different houses. I probably will do a basic podcast about that. So one of those houses is Aquarius, one of those houses is Capricorn, one of those houses is Pisces. So just, keep going and going. And as we go on later in the year, probably the next major area to look after you looked at Aquarius would be Aries, because there's quite a few things that's going to eventually go into that sign. But I do think we got some months out before that happens. And again, just take your own time when you're looking at your own chart, because all of it is important, in my opinion. Not just one sign or looking at one thing based off what a person's saying. It's good to know your own information and just follow along. I wouldn't say it's a major thing you have to do for the rest of your life, but it's good to know and start somewhere if it's important to you. So I am out. I didn't really introduce myself in the beginning, but my name is Don, and yeah, I hope I can give you guys some more information as the days and months ahead go. Thank you.